proud members of the Podbelly Podcast Network.
I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life.
Wow! Kicking down some doors, knocking down some windows, like Hurricane Chang and Typhoon Frick.
Hurricane Chang and Typhoon Frick. We are back in action.
Wow.
Action.
You thought episode 99 was going to be a wash. You thought it was going to be talking about some political stuff.
No. This is love in the time of post sort of not quite COVID. Whatever.
Love in the time of... I read that novel before. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Oh, no. He wrote Love in the Time of Cholera.
That was cholera. But, you know, I feel like it works somehow.
It does work.
Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah. Love in the
Brother,
time.
I've missed you. I've missed our listeners. I've missed our viewership. We had 50 viewers. I think we had 50 listeners, 50 consistent listeners. Now I'm pretty sure we have -5.
Yeah, we reached the minus. No, you know what? There's people still listening, even though we've released like 6 episodes or something this whole year. So for that,
I think that we broke up.
For that, I apologize. We did not break up. The band is still together. We've just been busy.
Very much.
Steve in the healthcare industry has been, fighting the good fight, doing what he does.
I'll tell you stories, bro.
He has the stories, man. He's been on the front lines, y'all. JB's around. We'll get him back on this cast.
JB's raising 2 kids, you know what I mean? So we gave him a pass. It's what we call the biz, a pass.
Well, that's one of the funny things about this whole like lockdown quarantine thing. I feel like people without kids were like super bored during this whole thing and like had a ton of time. People with kids and like daycares and schools closed and like their kids are home all day. Like they were the opposite. They were like more busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree. I feel like if you were 20 or you're in your 30s or you're just, you somehow made it as you're in your 40s and you just didn't have a child. You didn't have a niece or nephew to take care of. You didn't have an elderly parent that was needing your help, an elderly dependent that was needing your help. Boy, oh boy, what were you doing? You know what I mean?
I don't know, man.
What were you doing? Just drinking a 6-pack every night? Just watching some Netflix over and over again? Watching The Office from start to finish again?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
And then you get over The Office, and then you watch Tiger King from start to finish, and then you watch
Community.
Yeah, Community, and then you watch Space Force, and maybe you were disappointed. I don't really know.
You just couldn't get enough of Steve Carell. You just had to get the Steve
Carell. And then if you wanted some Steve Carell like directorial, like you watched like Angie Tribeca, so you could watch what's her name, Rashida Jones.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. She broke off into that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Angie Tribeca.
Yeah. I think that show's over. I don't know. I didn't finish it. I just watched part of it. Anyways.
Let me ask you something, man.
What's up,
honestly,
Steve?
I'm very, very thankful to be back and just talking with you again.
Yeah.
And also be back on our sweet platform podcast. But I also wanted to say, man, you had to have gone through a realization too while you were kind of caught in this lockdown mode. What has been your realization other than you miss our listeners?
My realization has been that I think I speak for a lot of people when I say this, but I'll just go with me. I'm not going to speak for everybody.
Yeah, you can't speak for everybody.
No. So me personally, I feel like there's a lot of things that I think I realize that I take for granted. And I would like to do that less. For instance, like, I have a beach and I have a lot of hiking trails. Like there's a lot to do in San Diego, like outdoors wise. And when that all got taken away from me, even though I had, I'd been on a couple of hikes over the last like month or so before the lockdown happened and they shut all the trailheads and everything. But I still haven't been to the beach in forever. And it kind of made me realize that like, dude, you know what? Like I've been taking this for granted, the fact that I have a beach and I don't think I enjoyed it to the full extent of what I should have. And then when it's one of those things like, oh, you don't realize what you had until it's gone. And I know they usually use that in like relationship context, but I think for me, it made me realize that, there's a lot of things that maybe I have been taking for granted, and I would like to do that a hell of a lot less moving forward.
No doubt.
So that's kind of what my biggest takeaway from like COVID and quarantine was. What about you, Steven?
What about what I took away?
Yeah, what's your takeaway?
Well, it's been kind of cool. So, like, my dad's a little longer in the tooth.
Yeah.
And I had to move him down here because he would have been up at home by himself. So I was like, you can bring him closer to San Diego. It's still a good 5-hour drive away from Santa Barbara. And so ever since then, I feel like I've gotten super close to him. We'll take, like, random day trips, and we'll take, like, just kind of get him out of the house and stuff like that. And I'll just go over there for dinner every other night, if not every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's just so nice to, like, I mean, dude, I don't think, and this is just paying full homage to everybody that's been through, obviously a thing or two in their whole life, but like during this last 90 days, but you can't go through something like that. You can't come to that realization without the heartbreak that kind of was foretold. It's almost like the world had to slow down, put the heartbreaks on it.
Yeah.
And then everyone had to take a good time out and realize what was most important. Was it the flashiest threads, man? Was it looking good makeup? Was it fancy car, or was it family? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or was it, hey, if I have 24 hours in a day and only so many days per year, what am I going to do with that time, man? You know what I mean? What do I want to do with that time? And, like, that was the most important thing. And also, I got to be honest with you, because we weren't talking about the good message and, like, spitting it out and, like, putting it out there, like I told you, and this is a little thing we touched on several topic factor, episode 20 through 75, I feel like. And this podcast really helped me get through some times myself, because, like I told you, we were battling COVID. I was a frontline COVID fighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just been tough inside the hospital. And sometimes you go like, man, I need an uplifting spirit. But when you're not always surrounded by it, at least every week as this kind of check-in that we would do, hey, man, let's talk positively for an hour. And, like, let's spread it out. Let's spread out our joy. And let's, like, we'll kind of realize, like, our joy in life about other things we have. Let's talk about that positively for an hour so we can give it to other people. When I didn't have that, man, I'm telling you, it was a little bit darker.
Dude, I'm right
Doesn't
there
mean I
with
was
you.
walking around in a cloud, other people having worse, but I just said, man, I really did miss this,
I'm right there with you, man. I mean, we've been kind of juggling schedules and trying to, you've been doing a lot of the work stuff, and I've been kind of getting a lot busier with work, and JB's doing these. So it's been difficult, but I think we're back now. We will give you guys weekly episodes from here on out. I will promise you that. But dude, I'm right there with you. And I don't know how many times we've said that as we try to throw positivity out there and we try to help other people, we're helping ourselves just as much. And
I think it's more beneficial for us.
It probably is. And to be honest, man, without doing that, like not recording this regularly lately, like, dude, I've gotten a touch of, depression and stuff too. Like, it definitely, I think talking about this at least once a week, or just talking about anything, just downloading with you and kind of broaching this subject of positivity and kind of like, keeping our heads above water. It's so huge. And I mean, I was listening to some podcast, and they were talking about, free therapy. And it was like basically just like talking to your friends, family, like whoever you got, like, talk to people. And I think just us talking to each other is so powerful. And I'm just, speaking from personal experience, it's just talking to Steve, just like, even if it's just for an hour about, kind of trying to be positive, like once a week. I mean, that does so much for my well-being, my psyche, my attitude, and everything else. And so, I mean, if listening to us helps, that's great. And keep doing that by all means. But, also reach out to people, talk to people. I mean, there's so much value in that. And I mean, I think that's what I've realized. That, I mean, we obviously knew that because we talk about it all the time. But then it's definitely shown me how powerful it really is when, again, taking something for granted, because once it's not there, you realize how much you miss it.
No, for sure. I think one of the biggest things I know I wanted to kind of talk to you about today, and what I think that we're kind of getting broaching on here, man, is the topic of accountability, Now, you may not know this, okay, because I don't tell very, very many people this, but yours truly, now everyone knows.
So this is just like a secret between you and I that we're recording for anyone to listen to.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
We don't even know if anyone's like kind of listening to this at all. We don't even know if anyone will pick it up. But accountability was a message that I had always kind of like thought of, because I had rushed for fraternity back in my collegiate days at UC Santa Barbara. What? And it wasn't Alpha Tau Omega. No. They party too hard. And that's not a bag on ATO. I just was never cool enough to be part of your fraternity. This was a Geo Alpha Gamma Omega. What is Alpha Gamma Omega? It was a Christian fraternity, the male Christian fraternity on campus. And one of their biggest things that they'd always kind of talked about, which I hadn't even got the concept of, and I was a Boy Scout and everything, was accountability. And so honestly, like when I tell you this, when you tell me that, like, not having to record this podcast over the last few weeks, few months, one of the things that you kind of felt depressed about or feel like you were kind of shortchanged on was the fact that, like, honestly, this podcast, and maybe you'll agree, kind of kept me accountable to staying positive and to, like, saying, hey, I got to do the things that I set out to do. I can't be negative Nelly anymore because I know that I've talked to my guys, Tim and JB, and we base this whole podcast on being positive, or at least being positive forces for one another, positive sounding boards for one another, uplifting, your brother or your sister or your community, that stands right beside you, uplifting them as best you can, how you can, when you can, with whatever you can. And so, honestly, I feel like that's like such a huge return for me, is that feeling like already when we press record for this podcast, I'm feeling already like that accountability factor's coming back.
100%. And I'll tell you what, like, I think there's a lot of, I was like super jazzed going into this recording. Like, I'm just in such a good mood. And I think there's a lot of factors. Yeah. I mean, you probably noticed our audio's maybe a little scratchy, a little off. We're recording through Zoom, which is funny because you're like, but wait, Tim and Steve, I'm a listener who knows stuff because I listened before, and you guys live in the same city. Why are you recording this shit on Zoom? And the answer to that is that I am in Phoenix because I've traveled out of San Diego for the first time in months, which is fantastic. And I'm in my hotel room in Phoenix, and so I think I'm excited that, like, even though I had to drive 5 hours to get here, like, it's still exciting because I got out. I mean, by the way, my stupid HOA pool has been closed for like 3 months, and I've been pissed about it. And I think in California, I think all the hotel pools are closed and the community pools are closed. But in Phoenix, the hotel I'm at, the pool is open. So after we're done with this, I'm going to go jump my ass in the pool. And I'm so excited. But I think I was also super excited because I knew that the second I got into my room and got everything set up, that Steve and I were going to record an episode. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is so cool. And it's like, I think we just sometimes, I think accountability is a great message. And I think the counter to that is sometimes we just let the whole excuse of being busy get in the way. It's like, because, we've been busy with different things and our schedules haven't matched up. But, so often I feel like we just I'm too busy. But, dude, for the things that make a difference, and if again, back to the whole taking things for granted, for things that are worth it, you should make time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Can I just tell you this? I mean, the word accountability, like when I was when I was rushing for that collegiate Christian fraternity, one of the biggest things is, of course, they're just obviously talking about the word God, and then they were like saying how each person has to be accountable. And I didn't really understand it like then, how you held your brothers accountable for living the right style of life. But I mean, how relevant is that now, whether you believe in God or not? How relevant is that now when people are just asked to simply wear a mask, to help other people be accountable, wash their hands, keep social distancing? Even you, it's like you could have easily said, hey, man, I spent hundreds of dollars monthly on the HOA. I'm using that fool no matter what. But obviously you realize maybe it's not the best thing or healthiest thing for other people. I'm not so sure. But either which way, I mean, you were your brother's keeper. You know what I mean? And it's just that's you following the guidelines and you making sure, that you are accountable to somebody else that's not just you. You are accountable to your neighbors and your other colleagues, your other work colleagues, even the wonderful people of Phoenix.
I agree. And I think being accountable, there's so many levels to accountability. But I think the first thing you need to do is you need to hold yourself accountable to yourself.
Absolutely. Dude, I got a story about this too that I was. Man.
All right, dude, run with it. Run with it. Mine was all anecdotal, so you run with your story, bro.
No. Mine's anecdotal too, though, man. I mean, think about it. You're searching on Instagram, right? You're searching on, and you're talking about other people that you work with, and people haven't been able to get back to the gyms, right? But people are still no gym or no gym, no excuses, right? Holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Find some way to get that workout in. Find some way to challenge yourself physically, mentally, socially, spiritually. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, dude. And you talk about getting back to the gym. I've worked out a little bit. The funny thing is I just started working out again, but I've been pretty lazy throughout this. I've worked out at least once or twice a week, but to my own standards, that's not good enough. And I,
Sure.
then I was telling you this. I think last night I was telling you this, Steve, dude. So again, I got the whole taking things for granted message because I hadn't been holding myself accountable, and literally I was doing nothing, and I like threw my back out somehow. So like this whole weekend, I was like laid up, I felt like I was like 70 years old. I was like, oh, my back, can't move, can't do anything. I was icing it, I was heating it, and I'm like, dude, this is just like if this is probably because I haven't been working out, and now that I finally I'm like, oh, this weekend I'm gonna start working out, and then I threw my back out. Now I can't, and it's again like, dude, something that I took for granted got taken away from me, and then I was like, all right, as soon as my back feels better, I'm gonna take this shit seriously because I need to.
We're changing this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will tell you how funny is that. If you're a man out there and you're listening to this, or if you're a female, it doesn't even matter. Father Time, this is a true secret. Father Time is undefeated. Okay? You want to try and outrace Father Time? Good luck. I hope you put those shoes on real tight because you will not be able to do it. When I woke up when I was 37, on my 37th birthday, I woke up and I was like, ow, my back hurts. Wasn't even doing anything the night before. Wasn't even wrestling or sprinting or running or jogging or doing some crazy hike or lifting a bunch of dead weights. No. I was literally in a pool all day, fell asleep on a nice hotel bed, nicer than anything I'll ever own, and then bam, I was like, ow.
Yeah, dude, that was mine. I was literally standing in the bathroom sink washing my hands, and all of a sudden I was like, oh God, what just happened?
So that's all.
Oh man, I'm old. I'm so old. But now, a little, I did some heating, some icing, I did some yoga, I did some stretching, and then I saw a chiropractor yesterday, and then I did a little bit of a TENS unit, e-stim, and now I'm feeling a lot better. 5 hours in the car didn't help much, but I'm almost back to normal.
Nice.
So yeah, nice. Again, accountability. I didn't hold myself accountable until it was like too late, at least temporarily. And yeah, so dude, I'm with you. But I think ultimately, especially like you mentioned the mask thing. I think that the best you can do is hold yourself accountable. Yeah. You got to put on the mask because that's going to make other people safer or at least more comfortable. I don't know how I feel about people who I get it that people get mad at like wearing like, oh, you're not wearing a mask. It's like, dude, I'm across the street from you. Leave me alone. But I think the best you can do and the first thing you need to focus on is yourself. And you need to be doing everything you can do. Yeah. You can't control what other people do.
You can't, but you just need to do the best that you can. And also, I would even say now more than ever, now that you realize how valuable community is, right? How valuable social networks are, you know what I mean? It's like, how valuable is it when it got taken away from you, when you really couldn't go outside whenever you wanted to? How valuable is that? So it's like, hey, I am my brother's keeper. You know what I mean? Like, I am indebted to not you, Tim, specifically, because I owe him everything in that world. It's not like that. What it is that you're indebted to society. If you want to be a part of society, something's got to play along. And then not only that, you got to be a good citizen to it. You can't 100%. Just be the one stalwart that kind of hangs 100%. Out. I'm gonna cop on everybody.
And like, I think on that example, like, and I don't want to get into this, and I really don't want to dive down this rabbit hole, so I'm just going to mention it from like a 30,000 foot view. With all the protests that are going on and everything, I think it's an illustration without getting into the nitty gritty that things work better and everyone is better when we all work together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about blind here, probably that there's. All right,
you're breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit, Steve. What was that?
Oh, am I? No, one of the things I was going to say is that we know that there's a social discourse here that's going on in society at large in Project Reclamation. We are not blind to it.
No.
One of the things that Tim and I felt like, or at least I felt, and I'm going to speak for myself solely, is that growing up in a very, very well-to-do middle-class neighborhood and having very, very sustainable parents who are very, very successful, I didn't necessarily know if I could find a connection to and or open up this discussion myself. Like, if anybody wants to talk to us about this discussion, we are more than happy to talk with it. If they have a different viewpoint, if they happen to come from guys, to hear from you, we'd love to open this discussion. We're doing it, seeing as how I came from such an enfranchiser, part of like society's like portion of it, and I just didn't feel like I could actually add my 2 cents. I want to do more listening now that I want to do talking.
And and you and I are on the same page there.
Absolutely.
I'd love to have a really robust conversation about all this, but I don't feel like I feel like we need more. Steve and I both agree that we need more we need
Diversity.
different opinions and more
Yes.
more opinions of this. We're not qualified. So my only thing is this is just one example of, I think, from a very high level, without getting into any details or anything, that you got to kind of take that into account. Like, no matter what the community is, if it's your neighborhood or, your city or your county or whatever, we as a people, I think we're a social creature and we need each other, and that all works better, and it's better. We're better off for everyone if we work together and try to keep in mind, like, hey, yeah, I mean, and I think the earth goes there too. Like, yeah, I could throw my trash on the ground, but why? Like, that's kind of a dick move.
Dude, that's so true. I mean, even think, let's go beyond the virus. Let's go beyond social discourse, right? And it's like, what are we talking about too? It's like, hey, keeping your own yard, keeping your own water, your own lawn watered, your front porch clean. You know what I mean? It's just like taking care of your surroundings as well. And that is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Is that also not just throwing your shit and not just throwing your dirt on the ground? Be like, cool. Someone else will pick it up.
Yeah, dude. Keep your plants happy, because then they're going to create more oxygen. You're going to you're going to feel better because oxygen makes you makes your brain function. And those plants are going to take the carbon dioxide out of the air, and then we're all going to live forever. It's fantastic.
Can I just tell you, it's so funny because you mentioned the beach earlier, and man, oh man, I actually am a lover of the beach. If you don't believe me, look at my face up close. Oh, you didn't want to see that mess.
You look like leather,
see
Steve.
Those cracks and valleys. I look like George Hamilton. Like, is George Hamilton?
George Hamilton?
Hamilton? Is that George Hamilton?
Yeah, I think it's George Hamilton. The guy that looks like a catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not bagging out. He's our next guest. Oh shit. Oh man, this is gonna be awkward.
Oh wait, Steve! I just got an email from George's people. He just canceled.
He just canceled. That's such a weird guest for to have on Project Reclamation. Oh man, but I'm telling you, one of the funnier parts of the whole wide world is that, dude, I drove by the beach when it was all closed. They boarded up the boardwalk. They said, boardwalk closed. Beach is closed. Can't sit down. You gotta keep on moving. You gotta keep on moving while you're on the beach. And I was like, could I run on the beach then? They're like, yeah, you can run on the beach. I was like, okay, that's not bad. I mean, I'll take it. But then your shoes are all wet and you got all the sand, and then you're like, dang it, should have thought about this one through.
You're like, it's worth it, man. It's worth it.
Oh, it's totally worth it. But you gotta understand, like, there's been so much, like, the world is such a beautiful place, and how you know this, or things are so beautiful, how you know this, is that when it gets taken away from you, that's when you realize it the most, right?
100%.
Oh, I didn't realize, baby, how good you were to me, babe. Oh, no, babe. Oh, why leave me? Right? Like, that's sometimes when people feel the most, right? Or you never really, really respect your place of living because you just kind of dump all your stuff off. You don't do the dishes. You don't take all the care of the maintenance until you lose the house and lose the condo. You're like, damn, I should have, like, really invested more time back in my spot. I mean, college is a great one, too. Everyone powers through college as quickly as they can in 4 years, right? Sometimes you had a good time. I just powered through my time. I was like, okay, 4 years in the hole. And I was like, I'm so proud of myself to graduate early. But then I was like, I should have probably stopped and, like, seen a game or two. You know what I mean? Or spent more time, like, hanging out. Like, I graduated a semester earlier. I could have, you know what I mean? Why? There's no point to.
Yeah,
I
took an extra year because I was a little bit of a delinquent for part of it. But then I think I made the most of it because my last year, I was the vice president of 36,000 people or something. I did the election thing and I got my own office and like a stipend. It was really cool. But so I think I made up for my shortcomings. But I'm a firm believer, not that you should just dick around for all 7 or 8 years or anything like that, but I think that I think to me the most important element of college is really finding yourself and growing up.
Yeah.
And I think that, my advice to people is, if it's an extra semester, an extra year, that to do a few extra things, take some classes at, San Diego State's so cool because we have, and I think it's a partnership with UCSB, but we have the Mission Bay Aquatic Center. So you could take, I took Hobie Cat sailing classes. I took J24 sailing classes. I took all kinds of fun classes. And But I learned a lot.
Our listeners, neither do I. That's how cool those classes are. It's very explicit, very exclusive.
Well, those are all different kinds of sailboats.
But that's cool, though. You learn that. That's what all college is about, is that learning.
Exactly. So my favorite quote that I think I made up, but I'm not sure, is you have the rest of your life to live the rest of your life. Because once college is over, like, dude, it's out of the frying pan and into the fire, bitch. So my advice is, dude, if you can afford it, I mean, don't suck your parents' money dry or whatever. Like, get a job, pay your way through, get a scholarship, do something like, so you're not just like living on someone else's tab, which I did. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Love you guys. But, but yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer of, like, use every experience to the best of what it has to offer you. And I think that's kind of later on looking back. And I don't know that I was there, especially not the first few years of college. I think I understood it kind of my last couple of years of college, and I made the most of it.
But that's when you had that emotional maturity, that personal maturity.
Well, yeah, and I think I think it took, a lot of the things that happened that maybe I wouldn't have done are probably what led to me coming to the growth that I actually got from it. So, I mean, all in all, it is what it is, but.
No doubt.
But
I think one last thing about college, dude, because for some strange reason, I had heard about this, and I just was like, oh crap, I have to talk about this. You know what? When I was 17, college is so funny, because I think I've actually heard this on Joe Rogan too. He's like, all these 21-year-olds are making all these huge financial decisions where they're going $60,000 in debt when you're 20 years old. You don't have an idea about what 60 grand is, and like that forever follows you. Totally get that. That's painful. But also, I want to tell you, if you're listening to this and you regret never going to Princeton, or if you're listening to this and you're of that high school age, which I doubt, that's our district group. But you're like, oh man, I got to go to this big time college USA, the most expensive private university in all the world. MI, Stanford, Princeton, Harvard. You know what I mean? Wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't need any of that stuff to grow as an individual.
No.
You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff is a namesake alone. You can grow just as much, just as far, just as big, just as tall, just as to the moon and back if you want to grow that high. You know what I mean? If you want to grow that big. You can grow right there in the college of your backyard, whether it be a community college or a state college or a university, X, Y, and Z, or a private university in your backyard. You really can grow. So don't do yourself the disservice of, chasing this wild dream about going to these huge institutional names, because that's all you're really buying into. Buy into yourself. Put the money into yourself. Put the money into the experiences that you have in college. You're meeting people from all over the place. And then they would actually love meeting you because you're from like a local spot. You know what I mean?
100%.
You put the money into like your development into like, sailing and learning about just stuff that you never would have learned about.
Well, and here's the thing. There's a reason that in-state tuition is so much lower, because your parents have been paying into that state your whole life. So when you get there, you may as well go to the one of the schools that your parents, all your parents' tax dollars went to.
No doubt.
Also, I'll be completely honest, unless you're trying to get into medical school or law school, it doesn't matter what the college's name on that degree is.
It really doesn't. I think people use those a lot of can I just say, my sister went to a very, very private, very, very famous university in Cambridge, Massachusetts, okay? And I was, damn it, Susan, damn it. Oh, God. Oh, I'm the black sheep of the family. Oh, Asian family, I'm black sheep. Then she's like, hey, after her first year there, she's like, hey, bro, don't even trip about feeling that way. Because I expressed that to her. I didn't express that to her before. Privately insulted about it. And she had said, bro, don't even think that way about that stuff. I'm just like, well, there are a lot of people at that university, and probably other private universities just like that were legacied in, meaning that your mom and your dad went, your grandpa went, you all of a sudden, you were the third generation to go, and you had the money to go, and you had your family's money, it's that's how they got it. And
like every politician in the last, I don't even know how many years. Yeah, they all went to colleges because of their last name.
Yeah. And dude, if you think about this though too, it's look at those, and this is not a political statement, but the only reason why this comes up is the Obama girls were of age to go to college. They were young when they entered in the White House, and so, imagine every university in the whole wide world feasting after those two kids, being like, yeah, come to our university. We'd love to have a president's kid come to our university. I have no idea how smart they are. They're probably very, very intelligent people. I would never cut on anybody that I don't know, especially because they're minor people. I'd never say anything bad. But one of the things is that I'm just saying, hey, let's be real. It's just, if you have a namesake, yeah, more than likely you might be legacied into a situation here. And does that mean you're smarter or, That mean you're more intelligent than, you or I that grew up in a very, very middle class community in a not so blue collar town. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's probably not.
No, but I mean, 10, 20 years later, like where your degree came from doesn't really matter. And you know what?
It doesn't matter. Not
and
anymore,
there's plenty of extremely respectable and very lucrative things you can do without a college degree. And I feel like that's something that's been lost lately. I mean, like in a lot of other countries.
You want to put it on Instagram, you can probably make a lot more money than doing that.
Well, you could do that.
You have
too.
a bad body,
Dude,
and you want to make good money. You have a bad body, you're happy that you have a bad body.
Dude, there's a teenage kid doing unboxing videos of toys that's making more money than most people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He at 14 years old, he has made more money than you and I could ever dare to dream of. That's kind of the
100%.
like that
100%.
Secret, right? You and I have unboxed this. He's in our whole juicy fruit. Fucking out.
You're cutting out, dude. I have no idea what you're saying.
I mean, we should never put it up online. People can savor and look.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, but you're cutting out pretty bad. I don't know if it's my internet or your internet. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't catch most of what you just said. Sorry.
Not worth repeating.
Something about juicy fruit
Russia.
and the guy from Kung Fu, The Legend Continues. I'm not really sure.
I wish. Oh, man. Can I just tell you how nice it is to be back and talking with you and just kind of process it? And then hope the else that's money for 30 minutes and just say, wow, this was messed up. I listen to these guys and I realize, that.
Oh, Steve, we're missing like half of what you're saying, dude.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh, I just said most of. What about now? Can you hear me?
What if we turn off the video for a minute?
Work? Testing, 1, 2. Hear me, can you?
It's pretty choppy.
Really not.
Okay, try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Okay,
testing, 1, 2, 3.
that's a lot better.
Okay, I've turned off the video.
So did I.
All right, cool. So one of the things I was going to tell you. Technical difficulties. Hey man, I can't even tell you how great it is to be back with you. Stuff. I gotta be honest with you. Even if we are just spending 30 minutes daily life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I listen to these boys at the bottom of the barrel. I feel so much better about my life. Then that in and of itself is like perfect, right?
Hey, I'll take it.
It's nice to be back on this podcast. I'll take it too.
I'll take it. I will take it, man. That's awesome. If we could do however we can make people feel better, I'm down. I'm totally down. Even if it's like, hey, you know what? I have it better than these idiots.
Yeah. That's what we aim for. Just, is your life somewhat moderately better than us two?
Yeah, man.
If it is, you're winning. You are winning
you
for
are
sure.
Winning 100%. Yeah, dude.
Can I just tell you, the last time we recorded, it was cold in the air. Now it is very, very, very much summer. And I enjoy it. I feel like there's two seasons in San Diego, right? There's summertime, and then there's like early summer. And early summer I could live with all day long. But then these 3 months, it's pretty much July because June blew. But July through September, man, I'm telling you, that is a rough go.
It's hot, man. At least like July, and especially, well, I don't know about that. We have a little bit of a heat wave going on right now. Well, I'm in Phoenix, so it's always a heat wave out here. Although weirdly enough,
it's a dry heat.
It was the same temperature in Phoenix as it was. The difference is in San Diego, the temperature is going to drop at night. It's the few months, which is like July and August and like early September, where the temperature does not drop at night. That's when I get irritated because I can't sleep when it's hot.
Oh, you can't do it. I know. Isn't that the weirdest thing?
No,
you know when it gets to be so cold too, I can't sleep because it's just so cold. It wakes you up. You're like,
yeah, but at least if it's cold, you could put on more clothes and you could put on more blankets. You can't put on once you're just laying on top of your sheets and stuff. Like you can't get any I mean, you could turn on your air conditioning, but that's if you have it, and a lot of people don't in California. And it's expensive as hell to use it if you do have it. So
I know. Oh my God.
I try not to, but it is what it is.
What did people do before there was air conditioning though? Holy smokes.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't want to know a world that was before air conditioning.
I don't want to know a world without air conditioning.
Without AC. And I'm not talking about AC Slater. I'm talking
but AC Slater's pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I've been growing out my hair since forever.
Your hair looks good, man. I mean, I can't see it anymore because we turned off our cameras so that we'd have more bandwidth for audio. But it looked good, dude.
Yeah.
Looked good.
Dude, no, it's right. But I gotta be honest, it's been so hot, and I just feel like, man, it's time. It is time to let this thing go. Oh my God.
I've tried to grow out my hair a few times over the last few years. And it always goes just fine until the time that I get to like when it starts to get hot, and then I just get irritated and I just cut it all off.
There's a little dedication. There's that moment where you just have to get rid of that feeling, and then you just have to accept, like, this is going to be my new look. I'm committed.
Yeah.
I'm holding myself accountable to not chopping it off. And then after that, you're like, all right, cool.
So are you going to get rid of it or what?
I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, there's no hair salon, there's no hair place that's open. That's all booked up. Like, as soon as they became open again, it was like they just got booked for days. If you were a hairstylist, boy, you just better be working 25 hours a day now. You probably could squeeze it out.
Dude, I bought some clippers and let Brett cut my hair.
Yeah, that's probably the best. I've been cutting my dad's hair just because he's like, he can't get in and he has it short. And I was like, why not? I was like, dude, if it's bad, no one's going to know that it's bad, right?
Yeah.
No one will see you for the next month.
Yeah.
This thing's so funny. Oh, man. What a day. What a past 90 days. What a year already so far.
Yeah, man.
Smokes. Did you ever anticipate this being what it was?
No, not even a little bit. Not
There's
even
no
close.
way you could have.
No, I mean,
no way.
And it happened so fast, and it just it just blew my mind, dude. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, man. I'm telling you. Hey, man. Well, what does this do for your future goals? Does it change your future goals? What do you got on board? What do you got on deck for the year 2020? Because it's not over yet. Nothing's over. Every day is still valuable. Even the next, days, weeks, months, year to come. I mean, so have you thought of a new goal that you want to hit?
No, I think it's the same goals. I think just stop putting shit off because,
excuses.
Exactly, no excuses. And we were just talking about earlier, or actually just not earlier, literally 30 seconds ago. Like how this all happened so fast. Like life changed in the blink of it, like literally the blink of a fucking eye, and.
Yeah.
To like that and everything changed. Like you're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna start going to the gym tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow I'm gonna start going. And then gyms are fucking closed. It's like, yeah, that doesn't mean you can't work out, obviously, but I just mean like things change. Things can change in the blink of an eye. You could be locked down, quarantine. Like, oh, maybe I should have hugged more people. I'll hug him tomorrow. Oh wait, you're not allowed to hug people anymore. You can't shake hands anymore. Like shit could change so fast that like I feel like you really need to, at least I want to embrace more of like, dude, not that tomorrow could be like taken away from you as in like, I mean, obviously people are like, oh, you don't need, tomorrow's not a guarantee. You could die tomorrow. Well, yeah, that's obviously true. But also tomorrow, everything could change and you could lose access to a bunch of stuff that you have been putting off, Oh, I want to start going to the beach more, but I could have already done it. And like, I haven't been. So now I'm going to take that. I want to take all that stuff more seriously. Like I have a lot of fitness goals that I've come a long way on, like health, fitness, weight loss goals, but I haven't finished. And I feel like I've kind of been stuck in a rut and I haven't been taking it seriously because I keep putting things off. So my goals are the same. My goal is just to take those goals a little bit more seriously and not ever think that everything is going to be at my disposal tomorrow, like the same way it is today.
Gotcha.
What about you, man?
That's crazy. No, dude, you know what? Can I just tell you this? Like, during the start of COVID, man, everything was kind of going crazy. Like, we kind of just underplayed it because we really didn't know. No one. And we're like, are you really concerned about this? And then the higher-ups were like, probably not. I don't know. We don't know. And then it was like, it came on like a huge wave. And then probably like 3 weeks into it, I was like, whoa, this is a totally different scene. And then you started hearing about some of your colleagues, get sick, and then they were up in the ICU. Like, dang, dude, like, what? You were just kind of like, okay, well, but still, like, it won't happen to me. And then some of your colleagues that were close to you started getting it. You're like, holy crap. You know what I mean? And I was never afraid of it, like to the point where I wouldn't operate or I was too afraid to come in and I hermited myself to the world.
Yeah.
No. Because I realized like firefighter doesn't go like, oh, that's a bigger fire. I don't know if I feel like a firefighter just automatically was trained to be like, okay, cool. Or a teacher doesn't go like, that's a really tough student. I give up, right? They go, wow, okay. They got to try harder. I got to like find some different way or avenue into like teaching them. Same deal. We like all kind of signed up for this healthcare provider. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, this is my moment, I guess. Fuck, shit. All right, here we go. And first off, I want to say the community was so good because they supplied all the nurses with food for a long time. They were just giving us pizzas and coffee and tacos. And
That's
and
awesome,
you name
dude.
it, they
That's
gave
awesome.
us, dude. And like, when no one had jobs, when no one was working, when no one was doing anything, when everyone's job was on the line, remember, a lot of unemployment was filed in those first few weeks and months of COVID. Man, everyone was still giving, and I love that because that's how cool humanity is, period. Okay? But not only that, though, it was just like, people get sick, and I was like, dude, stop waiting on the things that you want to do, right? Like, you want to, like, oh, okay, like, for me, I was always, like, talking, and this is a simple measure, I'll give you a simple measure. It was like, I had always talked about, since I moved into my house, I was like, oh, I should build a deck in the backyard. I should really build a deck in the backyard. One day I'll build a deck in the backyard. After I realized I could be dead by the end of the week, you know what I mean? You know, on Monday I'm great. By Tuesday I'm sick. By Wednesday I'm in the hospital. By Friday I could be dead, right? After I realized that that was very, very much a reality for me, I just said, you know what? Stop putting off the things you really want to do, man. Just do it. If you have the financial capital to, if you have the physical nature to do it, if you have the social realm to do it into, just do it. Like, right? You're worried about asking out that girl. Oh, she's too hot, or he's too hot. I can't talk to him. Oh, they're too good for me. No one is ever too good for anyone, period. And then not only that, dude, go for it. Just go for it. Like, this is your life. Like, you may not have very much of it. You can be dead by the end of the week no matter what. Hit by a car, you know, walking down the street, have an aneurysm, whatever. But now more than ever, it was just like, hey, value the time of whatever time you have left and go do the things you want to do.
Well, yeah, exactly. And don't take things for granted. Like we were talking about earlier. I mean, I would for the last couple of months, man, I would kill to get rejected by girls at bars. But like, I haven't even had that opportunity. And like, the funny thing is, you know, most of the people I've been spending time with, it's like, you know, Shannon and Nick and Brett and Lindsay. And I love the four of them to death, but it's like, I feel so single and so like, and I'm like, wow, I can't even, and I feel like I'm at a place where I think that my standards are in the right place where I'm in a good place to, you know, meet someone who I think would compliment me rather than some of the past experiences I've had. But yeah, I just haven't had the opportunity lately. So like, yeah, dude, if you have an opportunity to maybe get shot down by somebody, just take it. Worst case scenario, you get shot down, but you never know because you could end up in a lockdown where you can't even, you don't even get the opportunity to get rejected. So yeah, dude, carpe diem, man. Take the bull by the horns. Don't take anything for granted. And if something's in front of you and you want to do it and it's legal and whatnot and moral and doesn't hurt other people, just do it. Do it.
Isn't it so funny? Like, just stop waiting on your dreams, your goals, your wishes, your wants. And so long as it's, like I said, so long as, oh, I always wanted to run a prostitution. No, man, that's not what Steven and Tim are talking about.
No.
Oh, I always wanted to rob a bank. No, that's not what we're talking about, man. What we're talking about is, hey, man, like, your whole everything could be rocked and gone again within a month's time. You know what I mean? Or within a week's time. By the end of the week, so it's just like, hey, make sure you're the best person you can be every single day, and you're doing justice to like your dreams. And like, that's the only thing I'd tell you. You know what I mean?
I'm with you there, man.
Damn, bro. Damn, you got me all emotional because I swear to gosh, I saw some people like get real sick, and I was like, dude, I don't think that this is the way they ever envisioned their life kind of being taken away. And I was like, it hit me so hard because I was like, dude, I mean, imagine that. Maybe there was like something that they wanted to do that they never got a chance to do. Maybe it was that girl that they never asked out, a guy that they never asked out. Maybe it was that restaurant that they never tried, and now they couldn't even go to a restaurant even if they wanted to. You know what I mean? Maybe it was that one trip to Italy that they've been always saving for. They have $100 saved, or they have $100,000 saved. You know, just what are you doing? Because you couldn't take the money with you no matter what. So what did you do with the time? What did you do with the means? What did you do with the money? And like, that's what I mean. I'm telling my parents right now too. It's like, hey, dude, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like, you know, don't worry about Tim. He's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You don't need to support Tim. It's like you don't need to support anybody else in this world. Support yourself and do the things that you want to do.
Well, and dude, that's interesting. It reminds me of something I was reading something. I think it was in Men's Health, and they were talking about they always do like some kind of like dad sections, and they were talking about like what's the best. And this may have been like a Christmas issue. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. But the point was they were talking about like gifts for your kids, and they were saying like, dude, take your kids on a trip. You know, take them to Disneyland rather than like spend $100 on or whatever, few $100s on a Disneyland ticket rather than presents, because a kid's not necessarily going to remember the toy that they got, but they're always going to remember, you know, that awesome vacation or that awesome trip that they got to do with their family. You know, like, I mean, some of the coolest things I can remember are the experiences. So like, if you can use the money to like create an experience, that's sometimes so much better than using your money or your resources to get more stuff, you know?
All day, man.
Yeah.
All day. Can I just say, like, that's like one of the things, like, I have a college roommate that I respect a lot. You know, he's very successful. But one of the things I respect the most about him is that he doesn't buy gifts for his kids. You know what I mean? He just doesn't. He'll take them, he'll save them up, he'll be pretty lavish with the stuff that he does. You know what I mean? Like with the the experiences and stuff like that, he'll be pretty lavish with them. But yeah, as for the other stuff, he won't buy gifts for his kids. You know what I mean? And it's just like he'll buy them experiences, and I think that's so cool.
Yeah, and I think that I'm
totally on board with that.
Totally agree,
all on board with that. It just makes me like kind of like envious, because it's like you do have to have capital for that, you know. And it's just like he does, and he really, really works with it, you know?
Yeah. For sure, man. And I think,
I'm telling you, it's nice. Talk to me, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you know, I was listening to a recent episode of Rogan, and he had a guy on Jordan Jonas, and he's the dude who just won the latest season of that show Alone, which I have never watched, but it sounds really cool. It's like 10 people.
I saw that show. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's like 10 people, and they dropped them all off in a similar area, but far enough away so that I don't think they ever come into contact with each other. And they get to bring 10 items with them, and that's it. And then they just have to survive. And the last one, and the crazy thing is, you don't know how many people have quit. So you get to quit whenever you want. But the last man standing or woman standing is the one who wins, and they win $500,000. But so this guy won, and he was just like, but the cool thing is, like, he grew up, and like when he was 19, like he hopped freight trains across the country with his brother, like a freaking hobo. And then he heard about someone that was building orphanages in Russia. So he moved to Russia at like 20 or 21, and he built orphanages. Then he was living with these guys who were like ex-cons, and they introduced him to some dude who was like a nomad fur trapper. And so then he lived with this guy for a while and did that. And then he ended up living with this like nomadic community, which are they're kind of like up in Siberia. So it's like, you know, -50, and they herd caribou and stuff. But he was talking about the difference in attitudes between the ones who are still like living in the forest as nomads and the ones who live in the villages. Because the ones who live in the villages, and he was kind of likening it to like some Indian reservation stuff, but he was saying that in the villages, it's just like most people turn to alcoholism, like they're all really depressed, and like life is not cool in the villages. But he's like, the people who are just off like nomadically living off the land are like super happy and doing super well. So I think there's some that ties to like a little bit of ties to kind of like your history, your cultural heritage, but also just ties to nature, rather than just being cooped up in you know, whatever. So like if you guys if anyone has like access to like, this kind of goes back to our original point. If you have access to hiking or the beach or camping or, you know, going off the grid for a little while, I think there's a lot to that, because it kind of like, it gets you away from society and away from all the noise, and kind of lets you kind of rejuvenate your creative juices and kind of like, you know, have conversations with yourself. And sometimes that's powerful.
There is a nice return to your base root of being a human being, you know? And I think being a human being is kind of foraging. It is kind of securing. It is kind of hunting. It is kind of doing manual labor with your hands, you know? Because it does feel good to push around something and create and build something for yourself, you know? Like a hut or like a little private domain. And it also is like, hey, testing your boundaries. Like, who's a natural person that, like, you know, can push the boundaries of like their comfort level and their level of society that's acceptable. And clearly, like, I watched that show. I just kind of put it on the background of like on Netflix or something, and I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it was cool to see. You know, what I mean? It was cool to see somebody actually work that and learn how to work the land. He killed Wolverine. You're like, what? How does someone kill that? Like, I have no idea.
Oh yeah. That was the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you do that? You know what I mean?
That's
I was
crazy.
like, if I saw Wolverine, I was like, where's the zoo that this thing is supposed to be placed in?
Dude, I don't think I've ever seen a real Wolverine ever.
They're kind of like, they're not like skunks, my gosh, but they're like the size of a skunk, but they're like thicker, and they're more like, you can just tell by their paws that they have like almost like anteater paws. Like, I don't know, they're just like thick ass paws.
And they're like mean as hell. Apparently, there's like some video of like a Wolverine like chasing. They chase away bears, and they're little. They're just ferocious. Like they're just. But this, I guess he killed a moose, and this Wolverine kept coming and stealing his moose meat. And so finally he shot it with an arrow, and then I think he killed it with an axe, and then he ate it. But he said it wasn't good.
I was like, dude, I mean, like I said, I remembered I lived in the city one time and I trapped a mouse, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do with it. I didn't kill it. I couldn't kill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't kill it. Someone else had to come over and dispatch it, and I was like, oh man, I felt so bad, but I was like, dude, I'm not. But, come to that survival mentality where you get down to your base root of, like being a human being. It's either kill it or, have it run around and distract you, or you can kill you eventually later on. Okay, fine.
Well, and I mean, he was in a real survival situation, and this Wolverine was eating what he needed for sustenance to survive. So, I mean, he had to do what he had to do.
Can I just tell you, it was like 60 days or something like that, 30 days or something. I'm not so sure what it was, but one of these guys lost 80 pounds in 30 days or 60 days. And I was like, holy
That's
shit.
Crazy.
And then he's like, are you kidding me? You're going to, like, get me out of the competition? I was like, yeah, bro. Like, you need to get out of the competition, like, yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, 80 pounds is a lot to lose, like, overall, like, any kind of period.
When he was saying, when he found out that he was going to be on the show, he literally put on 25 pounds of fat. Because he knew that, he knew that he was going to be in the tundra up north in like Canada and like I think it was like the Northwest Territory or something. And so, I mean, he knew that he might need to survive off fat stores. And as long as you have water and, whatever, you can live off your fat stores for a while if you have them. But it was just crazy. I just thought it was interesting because he was even saying when he was doing the thing in Siberia, like they even took some of the kids who were kind of headed in a bad direction with alcoholism and stuff. And they took them out to live off the land for a while and do the nomad thing, and it helped a lot. And I think there was 5 of them, and he said one of them totally changed their ways. The other 4 went back, and he was kind of like bummed about that. But Rogan pointed out, he's like, dude, that's a 20% success rate. He's like, if you could take 100 people and change 20 of their lives, he's like, that's a huge deal. Like that's probably a better that's like a better success rate than like therapy, to be honest. But also like just going back to like kind of like just the people in the land. I mean, you think about it, people who are way more in tune with nature, who go like hiking and camping and like, dude, this whole COVID thing, it's raised a lot of discussions, but one of which is like the power of the immune system and the importance of the immune system. And I bet you a lot of that just like getting dirty and getting out in nature and doing stuff like that. Like I bet you those people have stronger immune systems because that's what we were meant to do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because like, I don't know immunologist, but like I look, and actually.
You're cutting out again, dude.
But
now I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
All right. I wonder what that is. Sorry, our viewers, that approached Reclamation. Maybe Steven needs to improve his internet resource.
We're battling through technology,
Dang technology, boy! I bet you if we did this out, if we just did a Steven and Tim spend a night in the woods, a podcast.
We should do it. It'd be fun.
A survivalist podcast.
We'd have to bring well, I guess we could just use our phones as like voice recorders, and we could take video and we could put it on like YouTube and like Tim and Steve Survivor Man.
Mm-hmm.
We could literally just go down to the river by my house and try to survive there for like a night.
People will be like, "What did you guys bring? What kind of equipment did you bring?" And then we'll just show them every single little thing and like, how many years did you spend out in the woods? And we'll be like, oh, it was 12 hours.
we come back with full beards and like long hair and stuff. And they're like, how long did you guys survive in the wilderness? They're like, well, we were in the Mission Valley River wilderness for 24 hours.
We were in the limelight of the Marriott It was very disturbing.
Were you guys trapped on an island for like 12 years?
I
No. We were next to the Marriott down by the river for 24 hours. That's all.
I thought it were Aurora Borealis, but it ended up just being the backlight of the Marriott
right?
sign.
Yeah, dude. It was just
very scary.
It was
very beautiful.
It was the lights from the mall. Oh well.
I know. Oh well. I think it's just so funny, in all seriousness, how different people want to shape their life. You know, how people want to shape their life. How valuable that is. Like on a real level, like it's cool, man. Like it's cool that somebody would think about that as a viable show. Dude, I could really do something about this. You know what I mean? Or I could really kind of test myself. I'd like never in a trillion years. How much money are you offering? That's still not enough. You know what I mean? And it's just like sometimes people find that as a challenge, and I can appreciate that. I can totally beyond appreciate that.
Right. Well, and I like how they just have them filming themselves. So like, it's kind of a more like it's a more realistic reality show. Whereas I think a lot of these with like Naked and Afraid and stuff, it's I don't know, it's a lot of production and a lot of just not my thing.
I say like Naked and Afraid is it's such a unique show because like why would you?
I don't know, dude. People want to be the price people will pay who want to be famous. It can be interesting.
Because honestly, if that was part of the cultural thing about whatever culture you got dropped into, which I don't know very many cultures that are just fully naked like that anymore, because you do have to protect your reproductive organs, etc. You know what I mean? But I don't know very many cultures that are like that. You know, and then getting bit by all those mosquitoes and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay. But then,
honestly, mosquitoes kill more people than any animal in the entire world.
No doubt.
Like way more. You can talk about sharks and alligators and crocodiles and hippos and wildebeests and whatever shit all day long. But yeah, mosquitoes kill way more people than all those animals combined. It's crazy.
It's not a romantic way, though.
No, it's like you get bit by a mosquito and then you get the dengue fever and then you die. Or you get malaria and then you die.
Like diarrhea and then like a dehydration over the next like 3 to 4 or 5 months. Yeah. But then like if you get ripped apart by a bear, it's like, oh, whoa. You know, if it bleeds, it leads. But if it just slowly just kind of dehydrates itself over a period of days and weeks, somehow it just kind of gets lost in the mix. Damn.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah. I can't tell you how cool it's been to just talk with you again, man. I love you. I love this podcast. We're at episode 99 now.
I think that's what it is, yeah. And dude, I thought
Wayne Gretzky.
Honestly, I thought yeah, dude, we're the Wayne Gretzky episode. And dude, I thought Zoom was gonna kick us off after 40 minutes, but maybe they extended the free version of Zoom because we've been talking for almost an hour and we haven't been kicked off.
I think Zoom is really, really interested to hear what we have, actually.
I think that must be it, dude. That must be it. I can't think of any other reason why they would give us extra time. No. Yep. This is episode 99. So, hey, man, Steve, it was great getting back on the horn with you, man. Even though we had to do this remotely. Brother. We'll have to do this. We'll have to do the next one in person sometime soon. But
absolutely,
for all of y'all that are still with us, thank you for sticking with us. We appreciate it so much. We got to give a shout out to our podcast network. They've stuck with us too, even while we've been useless. But shout out to Podbelly Podcast Network. Shout out to if you listened to our one of our recent episodes. We did a collab with We're Not Sure Yet. Those girls are awesome. Shout out to Liz and Cheyenne. And hopefully we can do some more of those. And so, yeah, dude, shout out to Podbelly Podcast Network, the best podcast network in all the land. Go pick it out on podcasts. Check it out, podbelly.com. And you can find us and all the other podcasts there with all of our information. So that's it, y'all. Steve, any final words?
Hey, man, I can't tell you this. Like, honestly, it's nice to feel. I know we touched on this a little bit earlier about being accountable, but it is honestly nice to feel like there are people that not depend on or that you to. Heard that message about you saying like, hey, the wagon positivity in your own life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how you did miss it. It does feel, and then I'm telling you now, Tim, and telling you guys because I need you guys to always keep positive that way. Not everything will be that way. But I want to let you know that I could have two better guys to be in my corner.
Yeah, man.
Keep me positive in life.
appreciate it. And yeah, dude, you guys are great. I'm so happy to have you in my lives, and we're so happy to have all you listeners in our lives, even though we don't know you. So yeah, keep it up. Thanks for sticking by us. We are now accountable once again to y'all. So we will be putting out weekly episodes yet again with maybe some extras if we get around to it. But I will for sure promise the once a week thing. So apologies for any sort of issues we had with doing this via Zoom. We tried Skype, it failed miserably, so we went with Zoom. It's not the best, but hey, we're getting you out some content. So thanks for mucking through the bullshit with us.
Wonderful song. Not the best, but hey.
Not the best, and it could have something to do with Steve's internet at his house, or it might have something to do with me using this Marriott internet. I'm not really sure. But anyways, yeah, it is what it is. Thank you guys for listening. We love you. We appreciate you. Go freaking carpe diem. Go seize the day, seize the carp, whatever you want to say. Yeah, so that's all we got. Thank you all. Have a good one. As JB would say, be good.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.